One of the teams that's got a lot of interest right now is so-called America's team, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. Now, they're about to lose probably the best edge rusher in all of football, Micah Parsons. He's officially requested a trade, and the first thing that comes to mind is you've got to be a dumb owner. You've got to be one of the dumbest owners in all of sports to not pay an edge rusher like Micah Parsons, one person who has the work ethic. He has the intensity on the field. He has the stats to back up his intensity on the field. He has the full package. This guy is an elite force of nature, especially on a defensive end. So you just got to be a complete Dumbo, which I'll explain a little bit more. But let me tell you what Micah Parsons said in his trade request. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing because there is a lot of different, bits and pieces to the statement that Micah Parsons released. You can go on his Twitter page, check it out, Micah Parsons 11, and look at the full statement, or just search it up, and then you can read the full exact statement. But I'm just going to read a hint of it, and he's just saying, yes, I wanted to be here. I did everything I could to show that I wanted to be a Cowboy and wear the star on my helmet. I wanted to play in front of the best fans in sports and make this America's team once again. This team, my pops and I grew up cheering for and all the way in Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, I no longer want to be here. Crazy how he said I want to be here, and then unfortunately, I no longer want to be here. Crazy. So he said, I no longer want to be held to a closed door negotiations without my agent present. I no longer want shots taken at me for getting injured while laying it all on the line for the organization, our fans, and teammates. I no longer want narratives created and spread to the media about me. So he continues on and on and on about his statement, but that's the bottom line of what Michael Parsons is tired of dealing with as a Dallas Cowboy, and his owner being Jerry Jones. So me, completely, I understand this. This is stupid. You've got to be one of the dumbest people in the world as an owner, a GM, anyone in the front office to let a defensive talent like Micah Parsons go. It literally does not make any sense. Jerry Jones is trying his hardest to outperform Nico Harrison as the dumbest GM in Dallas and the dumbest GM in all of sports. Because how? How could you possibly call it quits when it comes to paying a player like Micah Parsons, who's already showed how much of an elite force he is on the field, especially when he is healthy? The man has the work ethic. He has the talent behind it. He has the full package of what you could ask for with the defensive end, edge rusher in the NFL. And he still has youth on his side, man, if we're being honest. So I just don't understand what Jerry Jones is doing. Maybe it's a tactic. Maybe it's a little game that he's trying to play where he's holding out or whatever. But none of this has worked in the past. So, yeah, I know Jerry Jones he won the Cowboys a Super Bowl back when color TV was just invented. But as of lately, Jerry Jones needs to go, man. He needs to go. And I got a great friend who says this all the time. Tom Reed on the Hot Podcast. You need to check it out. He says it all the time. Unfortunately, the Dallas Cowboys not going to be good until Jerry Jones hits the grave and hits the dirt. Sad thing to say, but I'm really beginning to believe that statement that he says. And I think a lot of Cowboys fans are beginning to understand that is unfortunately going to be the reality for the Cowboys. Because Jerry Jones, man, first of all, even going back before all the contract BS, you fire McCarthy, which is cool. A lot of people wanted that. You fire McCarthy. But then after you fire McCarthy, you go hire somebody nobody even knows of. I mean, you ask a person who's not a Cowboys fan who's their head coach, and they still will probably struggle to figure out who the hell that is. So, you hire someone who's a no-name, hasn't really done anything in the NFL, and you turn him into the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys with no proven track record. There's no way in hell you can't convince me that the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys isn't Jerry Jones's wife's nephew or something like that. You just can't convince me at this point, because that was just one of the dumbest hires already. So that was earlier in the season where that happened. And then now you move forward and move along where the Cowboys, it's time to re-sign Micah Parsons. You want to play these games of, oh, I don't want a player who's hurt and doesn't want to do this. And you're playing all of these silly games. And now, look, he's up and he's gone. And watch, he's going to go to a dominant team. And now the Cowboys better hope they don't end up like the Giants where they trade another star player and then he goes to a team and win a Super Bowl, because that would just make them another big laughing stock of the NFL. So I'm upset at Jerry Jones, but this is expected. He's single-handedly ruining the Cowboys, as we know. Yes, he has the Super Bowls, but he hasn't done anything since color TV has been invented. So to me, Jerry Jones has by far been the problem for the last 3 decades for some time now. And then with me, I look at this whole situation of Michael Parsons like, okay, well, I understand the Cowboys, they're trying to do things right from a GM perspective. I'll look at Jerry Jones' side just for a second. Okay, we want to make sure we have money to pay whoever is worth it. We want to make the right decision to pay the right person. I understand that part. It is crucial that you pay the right people in the NFL to have a successful team. However, from a personnel standpoint, the Dallas Cowboys are not an awful team. This is a team who is pretty solid from a personnel standpoint. There was a lot of injuries that were very unfortunate for the Cowboys last year. They lost their star quarterback, Dak Prescott. Now, I'm not saying Dak Prescott is the best quarterback to ever live, but damn it, Dak is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. So you got to at least give him some leeway and say the season would have been different with Dak Prescott. You got CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens on the same offense on the receiving core. Like, are you kidding me? How can you try and ruin the situation that you have on offense by getting rid of an enforcer like Micah Parsons on the defensive end? Yes, I know, hey, Cowboys, they struggled last year defensively. Ranked bottom 5 in defense in all of NFL if you're looking at the statistics specifically. However, injuries was a big cause of that. And then Micah Parsons struggled with some injuries himself, but still, this is a guy, when he's healthy, you know what he can do and you know how he can transcend your defense. So I don't understand what the hell Jerry Jones is talking about. To me, it's silly, and I'm really just a firm believer that at this point, he's trying hard to show up Nico Harrison as the worst GM in all of football and worst GM in all of sports. Because I've never seen a player that's indubitably worth every penny he could earn in the NFL get denied a contract, especially when the team didn't even have a fair shot last year at making something happen. Because a healthy Cowboys team definitely probably would have at least got to the playoffs last year. Maybe they would have still got popped, and maybe they would have lost in the first round or the wild card game. But a healthy Cowboys last year with Dak Prescott, fully healthy defense, fully healthy offense, you can't sit here and tell me that they wouldn't have at least got 9 games. So this game that Jerry Jones is playing needs to be shut down. And shout out to you, Thomas, because you always hit it on the nail. You say, hey, man, Cowboys ain't going to be good until Jerry Jones falls to the grave. And I think that's just going to be one of the things that Cowboys fans have to accept as reality, because him as a GM is destructive. And yes, he has those Super Bowls in the past that he ain't going to ever let go. And a lot of Cowboys fans never going to let go of that. But you need to realize, man, the juice is gone. It ain't no more juice in there. That it's done, man. The reign is over, and Jerry Jones' era is done.